everyone. You're listening to Psychology Outside the Box. My name is Dr. Flower. I have a PhD in psychology, so I'm not a wannabe or a knockoff. I've been teaching college and university courses for 20 years. Psychology is a vast field that connects to many things in your life. If you have a curious mind, you're definitely in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Have you ever tried high-risk activities such as skydiving, rock climbing, big wave surfing, bungee jumping, or cliff diving? I really want to try something like this. There is only one thing that is holding me back, and that is fear. If you have tried any extreme sports, they don't even come close to the most dangerous experience of your life. We have to travel back in time to the few weeks just before Mom found out for sure that she was pregnant. It turns out that these 2 weeks are by far the most hazardous time of our lives. Ovulation is a phase in the woman's menstrual cycle that occurs at about day 14 of a 28-day cycle. During ovulation, an egg or ovum is released from one of the woman's ovaries. The egg then begins its journey through a narrow, hollow structure called the fallopian tube towards the uterus. As the egg is traveling through the fallopian tube, the level of progesterone rises, which helps prepare the uterus for the possibility of pregnancy. Every menstrual cycle, except when a woman is pregnant or has reached menopause, the lining of the uterus grows and thickens to get ready for pregnancy. Your uterus has only one job, and so it really wants you to get pregnant and have a baby. After all, the biological clock is ticking.
Just one. You don't have to have lots. I'm begging you, just one child. For me.
This pressure may also come from a husband, a mother, in-laws, or even friends. But first, the egg must be fertilized. This usually happens somewhere in the fallopian tube where one lucky sperm will penetrate the egg. The sperm and egg both have 23 chromosomes. When fertilization occurs and the sperm and eggs join together, the two sets of chromosomes also join, becoming a total of 46 chromosomes. The chromosomes are structures that contain all of the genes and DNA that we inherited from mom and dad. We all began life as a single cell, a fertilized egg, and developed into a human being made up of trillions of cells. The new single cell is called a zygote and contains the biochemical material needed for development into a special and complex human being. The truth is that the moment of fertilization itself does not have obvious physical symptoms, so you can't really feel it. Some women may begin noticing the first early signs of pregnancy a week or two after conception. Some may experience cramps after implantation when the fertilized egg attaches to the lining of the uterus. But until you produce a positive test, there's no way to know for sure that you're expecting. Urine home pregnancy tests are usually quite accurate. Blood tests are even more accurate. If your test is positive, you should also visit your doctor to confirm the pregnancy. Unfortunately, early miscarriage is far more common than many people realize. In medical terms, miscarriage means that the pregnancy failed to develop as expected. The majority of miscarriages happen even before a woman knows that she may be pregnant. As many as 75% of all fertilized eggs may be lost in the very earliest days of pregnancy, just after fertilization or conception. No matter when it happens, miscarriage can be a hard and sad experience. You are not usually at higher risk of another failure if you have already had 1 or 2 early miscarriages. Most occur as a one-time event, and there is a good chance of having a successful pregnancy in the future. You can try for another baby as soon as you and your partner feel physically and emotionally ready. Nearly all early miscarriages are due to circumstances beyond anyone's control and were destined to happen. Almost nothing you can do will cause or prevent an early miscarriage. There are a lot of changes that need to occur with the cells and genes in a developing pregnancy, and sometimes those changes do not happen perfectly as nature intended. The odds of having a live birth after conception is no better than about 50% and is very likely closer to 25%. The good news is that we all survived this dangerous period. As the rock group Queen said in their famous song, "We are the champions." The period during which the uterus is able to receive the embryo is called the window of implantation. The human uterus is receptive only during a short period of time, between day 20 to day 24 of the regular menstrual cycle. Successful implantation must happen during this small window of opportunity. In normal circumstances, the 2-week period between fertilization and implantation is invisible and impossible to observe or study. The exception is with in vitro fertilization, a procedure developed about 50 years ago to assist couples that were having difficulty getting pregnant in the usual manner. In the first stage of IVF, fertility drugs are used to stimulate ovulation. During a normal menstrual cycle, only one egg is released, either by the left or the right ovary. But with fertility drugs, 6, 7, or even 8 eggs may be released all at once. This is like winning the jackpot using a Las Vegas slot machine. With more eggs, the chance of fertilization is much, much greater. Then several eggs are removed through a minor surgical procedure and placed in a dish of special nutrients. The male is asked to produce a sample of sperm. The sperm and eggs are mixed together and stored in a laboratory dish to encourage fertilization. The eggs are monitored to confirm that fertilization and cell division are taking place. The embryos judged to be the best are then transferred to the woman's uterus. The embryos are usually transferred about 5 days following egg retrieval and fertilization. If the procedure is successful, implantation typically occurs in a few days. In vitro fertilization allows us to observe and follow the development of the embryo more directly. In the United States, the Society for Reproductive Technology provides success rates for women at different ages when using their own eggs. Success rates mentioned here are for a single egg transfer. If multiple eggs are used, the success rate will increase. The success rates vary dramatically by age, with women under 35 years obtaining the very best results. But even under the most favorable conditions, the chance of a successful pregnancy and birth for women under 35 is no better than about 40%, or perhaps a little higher for mothers in their 20s. The odds drop significantly as the mother's age goes beyond 35. This is due to the lower quality of the mother's eggs and cannot be prevented. For women 35 to 37 years, the live birth success rate is about 32%. For women aged 38 to 40, the success rate drops to 22%. So the best we can hope for is a success rate of about 40%, and much less as the mother gets older. After the age of 40, fertility drops drastically with a success rate of 10% or even less. In many cases, women over 40 may decide to use donor eggs. Eggs coming from someone in their mid-20s will be much healthier and will significantly improve the chances of a live birth. Another option is to freeze your high-quality eggs during your 20s or early 30s and thaw them much later when you are ready for pregnancy. Many women freeze their eggs for up to 10 years. This approach requires special care and facilities, making it expensive. It is successful most of the time, but not guaranteed. Starting at puberty, men make millions of new sperm every day. Men don't have a complete end to their natural fertility around age 50 as do women when they go through menopause. But men older than about 45 or so have less semen and fewer healthy sperm than younger men, and so fertility does decrease. So having a healthy baby is not so easy for several reasons. One of the biggest problems is when the egg has an extra chromosome or a missing chromosome. Chromosomes refer to the structures in the cells that carry genes. The sperm and egg both have 23 chromosomes. During fertilization, the sperm and egg join together to form a single cell. The two sets of chromosomes also join, becoming a total of 46. When the sperm or egg has too many or too few chromosomes, the embryo has abnormalities or defects that may lead to pregnancy loss or miscarriage. The wrong number of chromosomes is usually due to mistakes that occur when the eggs are made in the mother, and far less often when the sperm is made in the father. But the mother is not to blame. It is just the result of older eggs and reduced quality. So there may be 45 chromosomes, or else 47 or even 48 chromosomes instead of the usual 46. Having a missing or extra chromosome is always bad and never offers an advantage. It will never give you superpowers or exceptional abilities like Thor, Hulk, Spider-Man, or other superheroes. Down syndrome is a condition in which a person has an extra chromosome. They determine how a baby's brain and body develops and functions as it grows during pregnancy and also after birth. Babies with Down syndrome have an extra copy of chromosome 21. For this reason, Down syndrome is also referred to as trisomy 21. It is well known that the extra chromosome 21 originates from the mother's egg in more than 90% of cases, and the incidence increases dramatically with maternal age. This extra copy changes how the baby's body and brain develop, which can cause both mental and physical disabilities for the baby. Down syndrome remains the most common chromosome condition diagnosed in North America. The vast majority of embryos with 45 or 47 chromosomes die in the womb. Even in cases like Down syndrome with 3 copies of chromosome 21, more than 80% sadly will not make it to a successful birth. Having a missing or extra chromosome is a random error or mistake that can't be controlled or prevented. It is like a traffic accident that just happens once in a while. Except for mother's age, we cannot easily predict it or prevent it. Each chromosome may contain thousands of genes, so an extra chromosome means a lot of extra genetic material. With a missing chromosome, there is important genetic information that isn't there at all. This will seriously mess up the normal process of development. The majority of time when a fertilized egg has missing or extra chromosomes, it does not survive for very long because it is defective. If the fertilized egg reaches the uterus, it burrows into the wall, a process called implantation. Implantation usually takes about 3 or 4 days to complete. Abnormalities in the chromosomes of the embryo or abnormalities in the uterus itself can make implantation very difficult or impossible. Even an embryo with normal chromosomes will sometimes fail to properly implant. This leads to early miscarriage or an unsuccessful pregnancy. At this early stage, the mother will not know she is pregnant and so will be unaware of the event. This may actually be for the best, as it helps to avoid emotional trauma, grief, or guilt. When a fertilized egg implants in the uterus, it releases pregnancy hormones that prevent the lining of your uterus from shedding. That's why women don't get periods when they're pregnant. A positive pregnancy test is always the best way to confirm pregnancy. No other method is reliable. If your egg doesn't meet up with sperm, or a fertilized egg doesn't implant in your uterus, the thick lining of your uterus isn't needed, and it leaves your body during your period. Up to half of all fertilized eggs naturally don't implant in the uterus. They pass out of your body during your period. Once implanted, a complex support system forms that will protect and help to nourish the developing embryo. One membrane, the amnion, is a watertight sac that fills with fluid from the mother's tissues. The purpose of this sac and its amniotic fluid are to cushion the developing baby against blows, regulate its temperature, and provide a weightless environment that will make it easier to move around, like an astronaut floating out in space. There is also the umbilical cord that connects to the mother's bloodstream so the embryo can receive oxygen and nutrients during development and also expel any waste products. In vitro fertilization and other research has shown that human reproduction is a truly miraculous process, but also very fragile and risky. As women age, the proportion of eggs with abnormal chromosomes increases dramatically. If such eggs are fertilized, they rarely implant and so result in a miscarriage. Even a perfectly normal embryo with correct chromosomes will successfully implant and result in a live birth only about half the time. This is true whether fertilization takes place in the body or in the laboratory during in vitro fertilization. Many miscarriages are unreported or go unrecognized when they occur very early in pregnancy. But even after implantation, the danger is not over. For women who know they're pregnant, up to 15%, that's 1/5, end in miscarriage even after successful implantation. At this stage, the mother is aware of the pregnancy and will also be aware of the miscarriage. We have learned that prenatal development in the first 2 weeks after fertilization is an uncertain process that frequently does not lead to a successful pregnancy. The first 2 weeks of life is truly the most dangerous time in human development. Because there are so many factors that influence success rates, it's impossible to tell any individual person exactly what their chances of having a live birth. Whether conception occurs in the conventional manner or through IVF, there isn't any magical supplement, behavior, or trick to guarantee someone's journey will end in a live birth. But you survive, so when life gets difficult or even overwhelming, remember that you are strong and a survivor. We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. All good things must come to an end, including this podcast. But in the words of the Terminator, I'll be back. And I hope you will too. Okay, folks, it's all over for today. We're finished. We reached the end. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I will miss you so very much.